Well, I thought I had seen it all until I saw this one. Let me roll the tape and I'll explain. This is an absolute unicorn of an incident.
Driver Card 4401, checking on RNAV Zulu 13 left.
Card 4401, Canadian Tower, 1 calm, runway 13 left, it's alone.
Okay, so the first player and only player in this is Brickyard 4401, and they're an Ember Air 175. They're flying from Boston Logan Airport down to New York JFK. I was based in both of those airports for years. I've flown in and out of them hundreds of times. They're about to get set up for the runway 13 left approach, which is really a fun approach to fly into Kennedy, by the way. You do it, most of the time you do it visually. There's little lead-in lights all the way around on top of like hotels and buildings all the way around. And you kind of bank in and level off at the last minute. You get to do some of that pilot stuff. And they're setting up for this. They're all ready to go. They get to the point where they lower the gear and then something happens, something I've never seen before. So let's let them explain it to you. And then I'll explain to you what I think is going on.
13 left, clear to land, Brickyard 4401. Sorry, Brickyard 4401, we're going to need to cancel the approach. We got a message pop up.
Brickyard 4401, no problem. Just continue flying the approach, cancel your landing clearance, and maintain 2,000 feet. You said a message popped up?
Yeah, we'll maintain 2,000 feet, continue on the approach, and yeah, we got a message pop up.
So the clearance that they give them is to continue on the approach. So they'll continue banking around to the runway, then go runway heading, go up to 2,000 feet. And that's what they're expecting them to do anyway if they had to go missed approach. And he says, you got a pop-up message. Now, he doesn't explain what the pop-up message is just yet because they're probably scratching their head going, I don't even know how to interpret this just yet. And so they don't want to give too many details because they don't have that many details. And when I say this is a unicorn, I've never seen this happen before in flight, and I've never heard of it happening in flight. But it has a potential for being really, really serious. So let's let it play out some more.
Brickyard 4401, no problem. They'll resequence you. Just continue flying the approach. You're going to overfly the field at 2,000 feet for now.
All right, we'll overfly the field at 2,000. Appreciate the help, 4401.
No problem.
Okay, so they start their right-hand turn, line up with the runway, climb up to 2,000 feet.
4401, you're going to maintain 2,000 though, right?
Maintain 2,000.
Yep. All right, here they go. Runway heading to 2,000.
4401, you can fly heading 100 at this time and contact New York approach 135.9 for the resequence.
All right, 100 on the heading, 135.9 Brickyard 4401. Thank you.
No problem.
Okay, so far, it seems like the radios are working fine, the engines are working fine, the airplane's flying fine. What could it possibly be that took place right around the time that they would have normally lowered the gear? Here we go. The next controller is going to ask.
4401, 100 heading 2,000 feet, and we're going to be declaring an emergency.
Okay, so finally they declare an emergency. Probably should have said Mayday.
4401 New York departure, roger. And just when able to state the nature of the emergency.
Yeah, what is it? We want to know.
We got an indication the parking brake is not released on the airplane.
We got an indication that the parking brake is not released on the airplane. I have never seen this, and I've never heard of this in flight. Now, every time I go to the gate and I park, I pull the parking brake into the park position, and a little light comes up on my screen that says parking brake set. And I know the parking brake is set. That little indicator on my screen is connected to a sensor. The sensor itself could fail, or the parking brake could fail. Basically, every system on an airplane, and many of them on your car, have the actual item that could go bad, or the sensor that is monitoring the item could fail. But most of those on an airplane are called disagree lights. When I get a light that comes on in the cockpit, not always, but many times it'll be a disagree light. In other words, what I have got set is not what's actually happening, or the sensor thinks it's off. So let's say, for instance, I get to the gate and I set my parking brake and the light doesn't come on that says parking brake set. That would be, no light would tell me something's not right. Either the parking brake didn't set or the sensor's gone bad. Let's say I get up to the gate and I don't set the parking brake, but then the parking brake set sign comes on and I didn't even touch it. That's a disagree light. It thinks it's set, but it's not. That's what's going on here. But these guys are in flight. They're not sitting on the ground. This could be potentially very serious. Why? I'll explain that to you here after we listen to a little bit more.
Sure, 4401, you can expect the RNAV X-ray to runway 22 left.
RNAV X-ray to 22 left, we'll expect it 4401.
Okay, RNAV X-ray is a non-precision approach. It's going to have higher minimums, but it's probably a clear day.
4401, when you get a chance, I just need the fuel remaining in pounds and souls on board.
All right, you're used to hearing that all the time. Fuel remaining, souls on board. They're going to tell them in pounds or hours how many total people are on the airplane. They get all that taken care of next.
Fuel remaining in pounds is 3,600, and we are currently looking at 29 souls on board.
Nope, only 29 people on this airplane.
4401, roger, thank you.
Okay. They've got all the administrative stuff out of the way. They're still working through checklists now at this point.
4401, you can make it a left turn to 060 and contact New York on 125.7. Have a good day.
Okay, so why the switch of the frequencies? Well, there's a departure controller that gets them kind of the initial sequencing to hand off to the approach controller, who's going to get them turned around and coming back to the airport. They're eventually going to get handed off to the tower again. That was the first guy they were talking to, so that they get cleared to land. And then once they're down on the ground, they'll talk to the ground controller. So far, now listen to this, it's careful. Listen, they've been cleared for the RNAV X-ray approach.
Heading 060 and 125.7 today. Bridger at 4401.
And now a quick word from our sponsor. When the Polish F-16 went down during an air show, the reporting came fast and from every angle. Some stories focused on the pilot, others on military presence in Eastern Europe, and a few just leaned into the drama. All right, to make sense of it all, we turned to today's sponsor, Ground News. It's a news comparison platform that gathers stories from thousands of sources and helps you break out of echo chambers and actually see the full picture. In just seconds, you can compare how different outlets cover the same story and check their political bias, making the news less overwhelming and a lot clearer. With the F-16 crash, Ground News showed 46 sources in total, 33% from the left, 41 from the right, and the rest center aligned, with most being highly factual. And their location of coverage tool revealed something we'd missed otherwise. Most of the coverage is out of the United Kingdom, with Polish and German sources offering deeper context and reporting closer to the location of the crash. On this channel, we don't just want the loudest version of the news, we want the clearest. Ground News helps us get there. Right now, you can get 40% off the Vantage plan. Just scan the QR code or click the link in the description below. Big thanks to Ground News for sponsoring this video and helping us bring better stories to you on this channel. Sponsors like this help us to bring more content to you.
New York, Bridger 4401, heading 060.
New York 4401, New York. Delta's the current altimeter is 3026. You're inbound for the RNAV X-ray, runway 22 left approach.
Okay. Very good. So he reiterates that they're inbound for the RNAV X-ray. What's the conversation in the cockpit right now? Well, since I have never seen this before, I'm going to try to be as thorough as I can based on what I think might happen. I'm not sure there's even a checklist for this on the airplane because I've never seen a parking brake set light come on in flight. Now, clearly they wouldn't have tried to set the parking brake in flight, but something happened when they lowered the gear. Some indication either the parking brake was set, even though the parking handle might not be in the set position. Now, let me differentiate between the parking brake on an airplane and the parking brake in most of our old cars. All right, I've still got an old car that's got that big old handle that you pull, and that parking brake doesn't work worth anything. You know, if you're on the slightest little slope, the car will roll, and you try to pull it as hard as you can. Many of us have had that experience with a parking brake, so you're going, well, what's the big deal here? This is not the same. All right, when a parking brake is set on an airplane, those wheels are locked. They're not going to roll. And when I'm at the gate, I don't want that airplane to roll. It could be very dangerous to anybody. You got caught under one of those wheels of that airplane and it's a death sentence. So you don't want that to happen. When I release a parking brake, I do want the truck to be able to push me back off the gate, but that truck is only going from a dead stop to about 1 or 2 miles an hour when they're pushing me back. It's no big deal. If my parking brake for some reason is stuck, he's going to try a couple times and I'm going to call him up and go, hold on. I don't know what's happening, but the airplane's not moving. Just relax. We'll figure it out. This airplane is about to go, the wheels are about to go from 0 to about 130 instantaneously as soon as they touch down on that runway. So can you picture now what might happen? If the parking brake is firmly set, let's say that light they've got on is accurate and there's something wrong, and for some reason the parking brake has set and they can't unset it, then at that point I'm going to touch down and those wheels are going to be really solidly locked. They're most likely going to blow. they're going to come apart, or something bad is going to happen that I don't want to have happen. And so I don't want those wheels to come apart. I don't want the hubs to dig in. I want those wheels to begin spinning as soon as I touch down on the ground, but I've got an indication that there might be a problem. So the co-pilot and I are going to talk back and forth about all the ramifications of that. We're going to pick the right runway. We're going to come along, but honestly, at the end of the day, you just got to kind of come back around and land. Keep your fingers crossed that those wheels spin when they hit the ground. So let's see what happens with this, because I've never seen anything like this, but I'm assuming that they're having that full long conversation right now.
And 22 left, Brickyard 4401.
Brickyard 4401, are you ready to proceed inbound for the approach?
We're just going to wrap up one checklist, and we'll let you know, Brickyard 4401.
Okay, they got one last checklist to do.
Flighting 040, advise when you're ready for a turn for the base flight.
Remember, they're talking to the passengers in the back of the airplane. They're talking to the flight attendants. They're giving them all the contingencies. I would give my passengers a heads up. I would call dispatch at my company, let them know what's going on. Maybe I would talk to somebody in maintenance at the airline and say, hey, any ideas on this? Because the checklist really doesn't have much to say, and get their input on it. I'm going to get all the opinions I can about this before I come back around. I think they've gotten a lot of that taken care of. They're going to come back around and land.
040 will advise, Brigade 4401.
Watch the misstep here. It's real quick. RNAV X-ray.
4401, flighting 020.
020, Brigade 4401.
He's going to ask him again, are you ready?
Brickyard 4401, you going to need more vectors?
We're ready for the approach.
Okay.
Brickyard
probably the
4401,
captain.
company 270, RNAV X-ray, ready 22 left approach.
270, Brickyard 4401.
Okay. Third time with the RNAV X-ray.
Are we anticipating getting stuck on a runway?
We're hoping not, but there is potential we are going to be stuck on the runway.
So they've already had that conversation. So he's the approach controller's got a heads up. Do you guys think you're going to get stuck on the runway? It might. The airport needs to think about that. They're not going to stop him from coming in, but they want to know, the aftermath of this. They've already discussed it. Maybe, maybe not. Fingers crossed.
Understood. Thank you. Brickyard 4401, continue left heading 250, join final approach course.
250 on the heading, join the final, Brickyard 4401.
Okay. Everything's going smoothly so far.
Brickyard 4401, 5 miles from Capit, maintain 2000, so established approach course. Cleared on that runway 22 left approach.
2000, still established, cleared by ILS, 22 left approach, Brickyard 4401.
He said RNAV X-ray 4 times, and the captain or the whoever's talking on the radio read back ILS to 22 left. Now, I love how the system works, right? Air traffic controllers and pilots are both trained to listen to what the other person said, and if they didn't get it right, they immediately correct it. And that's why we have to repeat word for word every instruction we're given, so that you can capture that threat before they fly the wrong approach. Now, would it be a big deal if they flew the ILS? No, it wouldn't be. But maybe the ILS is out of service and it's not working. And now you've got an emergency and you're flying an approach that doesn't work. Okay, so it's important that we get all these things accurate. So a big part of the discipline in aviation is we read back word for word every single instruction that we get. So he cleared him for the RNAV X-ray to 22 left. The pilot read back ILS to 22 left. The controller's going to come back and correct it just that quickly.
That's right.
He says RNAV X-ray. He says RNAV X-ray. Sorry. Yep, sorry about that. Good. Just that quick, right? Problem solved.
4401, contact Kennedy Tower 119.1.
Over Tower 19-1, 4401, thank you for your help.
There's probably a couple of sweaty palms in that cockpit right now, I'm thinking.
4401, checking on with you, 22 left.
Brickyard 4401, Canadian Tower emergency equipment will be sending by 1150 at 5, runway 22 left, you're clear lane.
22 left, thanks for the emergency equipment, 4401.
Okay, just in case those wheels don't spin. Here they come. Touching down, this is the moment of truth. Are those wheels going to spin or aren't they? And the answer is yes, they are. So what was it? It was an indicator problem. So that disagree light, the sensor that was sensing the device, in this case, the parking brake, was faulty, and it gave an erroneous signal. That's the best case scenario in this. And whew, if I'm the pilot on that one, I'm just wiping my brow and going, great, this is awesome. I don't want those tires to blow. I don't want to dig in on the runway or any of the potential stuff that might happen after that. Good job. Whew. All right. Now they got to get off the runway. They're going to get asked a few questions, but it's at this point they're relieved.
4401, are you able to exit our hotel here?
Hey, firm.
Yep.
All right. Brickyard 4401, exit our hotel. Remain clear of the runway, and then advise your intentions when able.
All right, so remain clear in the runway, and we'll give you a call back, 4401. Thank you.
No problem.
Okay. These guys sound a whole lot calmer than I would be. I tend to get a little excited about these things. I'm not sure if that would come across on the radio, but both of them sounded kind of like, no big deal, calm, cool, and collected. And fortunately, it turned out really, really well. They did a nice job working through this whole thing. The fire trucks didn't have anything to do that day. They just kind of followed him down the runway, taxied off with him. They said, yep, we can taxi all the way to the gate. We'll go get this looked at. We'll get it fixed later so that it doesn't recur again. But in my 40 plus years of flying, I have never seen a parking brake set light come on in flight. Now it's given me some food for thought, because if it does come on, I got to think through what I would do if the checklist was only 1 or 2 items, like land at suitable airport. That might be all it says. I'm thinking through those tires going from 0 to 130 or 40 in an instant. What's that going to do to the tires if those tires don't begin to spin appropriately, or if they're locked in place? It could be a real mess on the runway. Fortunately, they avoided the mess today. Great job by this crew. They followed all the instructions, and air traffic control even caught a little error in there with the missed call on which approach they were shooting into the runway. They caught it just like that and resolved it. Have had that happen many, many times in my career. It happens a couple times a flight. Usually, if you get something wrong, they correct it right there on the spot. The system really, really works. So great job by this Embraer crew. Good training and all of that. So now you know, my friends, I'm Captain Steve. Fly safe. So as a reminder, we're still in the middle of our Make-A-Wish donation campaign. We're going to run that all the way through the end of the month of September. So if you can, click the link in the screen below and make a generous donation if you can to a great, great organization. That's Make-A-Wish.